first trip to Japan is the adventure of a lifetime, and no matter what, you are very likely to fall in love with this country and go back home with this feeling that you are leaving your true home behind. And this feeling was so unbearable for me that I came back as soon as possible, and it's been 10 years since. Now, this being said, there are many things I wish I knew when I prepared my first visit to Japan and landed in Japan, tips and ideas that I will share with you so that you can make the best out of your adventure. Here are my top 10 tips. Number 1, when to visit. Alright, this one is quite big, obviously, but the timing of your visit will impact your journey quite a lot. Let's talk about the climate, for example. Summer in Japan is crazy hot and humid, something I was not used to and something that I didn't associate with Japan for some reason. So, but Japan in July, August, but also June to September is truly an inferno, more like a sauna really. So for most of the country it's unbearably hot at this time of the year, but it's a good moment to visit Hokkaido. Now June here is rainy season. Now depending on the year it might rain a lot or a bit less, but it gets really warm and humid. It's not really good for the skin either. If that's fine with you, please visit in June, but be aware that monsoon or rainy season is mostly June to late July sometimes. And while you have typhoons throughout the summer, they are really at their worst in September, October, and usually they don't last too long, but they can ruin a couple of days from your trip, especially if you have flyovers or if you want to go, let's say, from the mainland to, the main island of Japan to Okinawa, for example. Trips can be delayed or cancelled altogether because of typhoons. So, weather-wise, the best moments to visit Japan are March to May, and my favorite, early November to mid-December. But you might want to think about national holidays too, because Japan has a bit of a severe work culture with few days off given to people in general, but they have plenty of national holidays, which means that people tend to travel at the same time. So you might want to avoid those key moments. For example, Golden Week, the first week of May. Many Japanese people travel at this time of the year, which means you will have less choices in terms of transportations. Trains tend to be packed, planes too, and you have also fewer choices of hotel rooms and they are more expensive. So first week of May can be a bit of a nightmare on the organization side of your journey. The first and last week of the year is also not the best moment to visit Japan because many places like gardens and museums and castles will be closed for a few days. Now, if you really want to experience this traditional part of the year, this traditional moment in the Japanese people's life, that's a good timing. Just be aware that many places will be closed. And I know this one is going to be hard to hear, but cherry blossom season can be very busy here, especially the first week of April. Now, it might be the whole point of your trip, which is fine. Just be ready to pay more for the same thing as if you came a few weeks after or before. Last point about the when to visit, Matsuri, so the traditional festivals of Japan. Some of my best experiences, my best memories of Japan are during festivals. Participating in those events is a remarkable experience. You get to interact with Japanese people like you cannot always do otherwise. So you might be able to carry the mikoshi, so that's like the small shrines that is carried around neighborhoods. You might be invited to dance around the taiko with there might be fireworks and all of this. Those are such great moments, but again, they can be very popular and make your choice of transportation and hotels difficult. For example, there is a matsuri I would really love to see. It's a Nebuta festival, Nebuta Matsuri in Aomori, but it is so popular that last time I had the chance to go there, there were just no more hotel rooms. But really, those events are so good, they are vibrant. You should check if there are any when you visit Japan. Second point, where to go in Japan. This one is a big topic and I will go into more details in a future video, so be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss it. But for today, let's simply say that there are more places in Japan than Tokyo, Osaka and Kyoto. A lot more, in fact, and efforts are being made to make those places, even the most remote ones, accessible and ready to welcome foreign visitors, because there are just sometimes too many tourists in Tokyo and Kyoto, especially Kyoto, and those people might just love visiting other parts of Japan. So there is a great opportunity here. You should definitely use this chance. And the thing is, it is so easy to travel within Japan thanks to its remarkable network of railways and buses and planes. Don't even really need to get a car, though that can be a good option too, but you can go absolutely or almost absolutely anywhere just by train and buses. And sure, you kind of have to visit Tokyo and Kyoto at least once and maybe for a few days each, but you can also go to truly remote places with just 1 or 2 train changes. What matters is what part of Japan do you want to see. Now, if you are really interested in, let's say, craftsmanship, like Japanese crafts, you might want to visit cities like Kanazawa or Gifu. If you are into Japanese history, well, you can visit some of the last 12 original castles of Japan, or maybe some ancient battlegrounds, ninja castles, and plenty more. If you are into Japanese food, well, this one is a bit tougher, to be honest, because excellent food is literally everywhere in Japan. That will also be the topic of another video, by the way, so So what I usually advise people who come to visit Japan is to pick 2 or 3 big cities, or let's call them hubs, from where they can go visit other parts of the country quite easily. And in that sense, Tokyo, Kyoto, Nagoya are excellent places for you to organize your trip. Number 3, trains. Let's quickly talk about trains, and more specifically about the GR Pass. And if you don't know what is the GR Pass, it is basically a train pass that you need to order before coming to Japan. You retrieve once you land here, and then you can use it to use trains free of charge during for 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think, depending on which one you bought. Sounds good, right? But actually it's a bit more complicated than this. First, you might have to book your Shinkansen tickets even if you have a GR Pass. It's free of charge, but yeah, you still have to do this extra step, and as people who've experienced it will tell you, it's not that simple. Most Shinkansen will have some unreserved seats, but it's not a guarantee, especially during peak season. Second, while you might save money with a GR Pass, especially if you intend to use the Shinkansen several times, if you don't have the need to use the Shinkansen, you might actually waste quite a bunch of money. So here you have to compare the cost of the GR Pass with how much you would spend in trains otherwise. And third, it is quite limiting to use the GR Pass because it only covers the Japan Railway tracks, not the others, but there are plenty more railway companies in Japan. So for example, Keio, Odakyu, Kintetsu, Tokyo Metro as well. None of them, or at least most of them, don't accept GR Pass. You will have to pay again to use them. And if you want, for example, to travel within Tokyo exclusively with the GR Pass, it is quite tricky. And you know what? Not every Shinkansen accepts the GR Pass. So again, it can be quite limiting. Number 4, let's keep talking about transportations here. You have another choice beside the train. Buses. Buses is a great option here. So night buses, for example, from companies like Wheeler Express, allow you to travel from one big city to another and some stops on the way for fairly cheap. You can go from Tokyo to Osaka for something like 3,000–4,000 yen, which is like 3 times less than the Shinkansen, plus you get to save a hotel night because, well, you spend the night in the bus. It might not be the comfiest night of your life, but if you are on a budget and, you know, fairly young, that's gonna be good. It could be good for you. I used those night buses quite often in my 20s. I'm not sure how much I would love it now, but they were great. Another kind of buses I recommend you checking are airport buses. So buses that will take you from Haneda, Narita, for example, to Tokyo Center, or actually even other parts of the Kanto region. They are a really good option to take you from airport to fairly close to your hotel or Airbnb. You have more options than trains. It's usually cheaper and nearly as fast unless there is some traffic jam, which does happen, but not as often as you may think. So you can check at the ones I usually take is an airport limousine, but you have others. It's such a convenient way to go from airport or to the airport. A quick note on airports: if you have the choice between Narita and Haneda, I recommend that you choose Haneda, which is closer to Tokyo and Yokohama. Number 5, payment systems. To facilitate your payments in Japan, you can and should acquire an IC card, a contactless payment card, in other words, as soon as possible after landing. Pasmo and Suica are the most famous of those cards. They are fairly cheap. I think they cost 500 yen each. They are easy to use. You can recharge them fairly simply in pretty much every train stations of the country. They can be used almost everywhere, and then at the end of your trip, if you want to, you can return them for a refund of the 500 yen plus whatever is left on the card. And also you can personalize them, so you might not even want to return them at the end. By the way, you see this logo? It means you can use those cards. But while IC cards are used all over Japan, you should still keep some cash with you at all times. Some shops, for example ramen restaurants, tend to accept only cash. So if you want to enjoy some good food, you might have to pay in cash. Some trains and buses also do not accept IC cards or credit cards and basically anything but cash. So you should always keep 10 to 20,000 yen with you at all times. Number 6, a quick word on clothes. As mentioned earlier, Japan can be really humid, so think about that as you prepare your luggage. Also be sure to dress properly when you visit sacred places, and sacred doesn't only mean religious. By the way, you are not likely to get kicked out for wearing revealing clothes, but you might not be accepted into some ceremonies or like meditations or these kind of things. But the most important piece of clothing that you will have to prepare for your journey in Japan are your shoes. I cannot stress this enough, but you should wear shoes that you can easily remove and put on, and because you will have to do this several times a day, especially when visiting temples, shrine, castles, but also some restaurants, and if you need to, the doctor. It also means that you might have to wear slippers that have been worn by someone else and will be worn by other people after you, so be sure to keep some socks with you at all times. Also, if you are wearing slippers and you need to go to the toilets, you usually have specific slippers waiting for you at the entrance of those toilets, so be sure to wear them as you use the lavatory, and be sure to leave them behind you when you exit the toilets. Tip number 7. Now, frequently when surveys are made about the impression of visitors to Japan, the number one complaint they have is the lack of trash can. There are simply no trash cans in the streets. In Japan, you might find some bins to recycle cans and bottles, like plastic bottles, next to the vending machines or inside convenience store, but technically they are only for customers of those machines and stores. You are not likely to find trash cans in the street, so make sure to keep a bag or keep some space in your backpack for your trash. And don't waste time looking for them, and don't get frustrated about it. This is how it is, and you know what? It actually works pretty well. Now, one thing that really surprised me when I first arrived in Japan, and it is still true now, is how difficult it can be to access the internet. I grew up with this image of Japan being this ultra-modern country with like huge screens in the streets, gadgets everywhere, and while you do have all of those, it is not as technology driven as one might think, and the most obvious part of it is the internet. So it can be tricky to gain access to Wi-Fi or to find a free Wi-Fi spot. So to make your life easier during this Japan adventure, make sure to order or acquire a pocket Wi-Fi or a SIM card as soon as possible after you land. You can check your airport of arrival and see what services they have that can help you with this. This will improve your journey tremendously. Now I know this one was quite obvious, but I think it still deserves to be said. Number 9 is actually more of a request than a tip, but please mind your manners, especially when visiting sacred places, and sacred once again doesn't just mean religious places. So just don't be disrespectful by doing crazy things like pull-ups from tori or scratching your name on rocks or anything like that. Some shrines, temples and streets have begun to enforce a ban on tourists because of the bad behavior of foreigners. Now, Japan is a dream destination. Japanese people are kind and welcoming. Don't be the reason it changes. Now, this being said, the Japanese people are aware that their culture is unique and quite different, and they don't expect too much of foreigners, especially foreign tourists. So if you don't follow the proper etiquette when you enter a temple, or you don't walk on the proper path, or you don't use the correct form of politeness, it's not going to be a big deal. They won't hold it against you. They are more likely just to smile and show you how impressed they are that you tried. Basically, if it's an honest mistake, you're good. Don't worry. One thing though, be mindful of how loud you speak. People are quiet in Japan. They respect each other's presence by not disturbing it. And I know it's easy to fall back into old habits of, speaking, laughing, arguing out loud, but as much as possible, try not to. It will not only show that you are ready to make an effort for your hosts, but it will also get you closer to the Japanese mindset. And finally, tip number 10, no matter how embarrassing you think it can be or weird, if you want to try something, try it. Try everything you can. If you are curious about something, be it public bath or karaoke, tea ceremony, or even maid cafe, go for it. Same comment for food and drinks. Just try as many things as you can. You are way more likely to regret not doing something than doing it. Just one piece of advice, an addendum to what I just said. You should avoid hanging out by yourself in some neighborhoods at night. For Tokyo, I can name Shinjuku, especially Kabukicho or Roppongi. Now, you are safe. It is quite unlikely that you will get harmed in any way, but the same cannot be said of your wallet and passport. And since you have to carry your passport with you at all times, it's just better not to go for a drink in those neighborhoods at night by yourself. That's it for me today. Now it's your turn. If you have traveled to Japan or perhaps lived here, what are your recommendations for people to enjoy their dream adventure in Japan? What was the best moment of your trip and the worst and maybe the most embarrassing one? I would really love to know. Leave your answers in the comments and don't forget to like this video while you are there. I hope you found those tips useful. I'm sure you will love your time in Japan, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or contact me on whichever social media platform listed in the description of the video. Thank you very much for watching this one. See you soon. Cheers.